to my channel, The Nature Patch. My name is Robyn and thank you so much for joining in on another video. Today is a very rainy day outside. I managed to get a little bit of gardening done this morning where I planted some more flowers out the front, which was really nice to get done. But today I thought I would do a video inside and talk about some of the current favorites that I have that are kind of garden plant related. I really like learning about what other people are loving in terms of gardening or books or other people's channels so that I can find new things and continue learning. So I've got a nice cup of warm coffee and I'm going to run through some of my current favorites at the moment. I'd love to be able to do this as a monthly video to kind of just have a little bit more of a personal chat about some of my favorites. So let me know in the comments down below if you like these kind of videos or not. So starting up, I wanted to share some of my favorite books that I've been reading. I used to read books all the time. Like I would go through a book in a few days. As I've gotten older, I've kind of stopped reading a lot, which is making me really sad. So I've started getting back into reading now. It's been a good time with quarantine going on, and I wanted to share my two favorite books at the moment. The first book is Dark Emu by Bruce Pascoe. This is really related to the Australian landscape, but I feel like the knowledge in this book can be applied to a lot of other countries in terms of the history of civilization and Indigenous people. So Bruce is an Aboriginal man, and this book has pretty much changed my life. Just to give you a little bit of an insight, I am doing a PhD kind of on this stuff where I'm looking at how we can bring in Indigenous knowledge into the current way that we manage landscapes. And this book really helped me to understand what happened in Australia. I'll read you something from the very first page, which kind of sums up what the book is and I think is really accurate. Dark Emu is a profound challenge to conventional thinking about Aboriginal life on this continent. He, which is Bruce, details the Aboriginal economy and analyses the historical data showing that our societies were not simple hunter-gatherer economies, but sophisticated with farming and irrigation practices. This is the most important book on Australia and should be read by every Australian, which I 100% agree with. It goes into the history of Aboriginal farming practices and pretty much kills the myth that Aboriginals were hunter-gatherers, which they weren't. There were a lot of really sophisticated farming practices on this continent, and this book really opens my eyes up to realize how unintelligent a lot of current farming practices are. And if you are into homesteading or agricultural practices in Australia, this book has some really good insight on how we can better do it with our climate, because we do have a really challenging climate with water being the main issue. So I would 100% recommend this book. Another book that I'm reading right now is The Overstory. This book is challenging to read, mainly because it's the first larger book that I've picked up in a while, and it's over 600 pages long, but so far I'm really loving it. It's not quite a page turner, but it has some really interesting portrayals of nature and trees in this book. So it goes on to talk about different stories of strangers and their past, and then basically brings all these characters together and shows how they relate to nature and trees. Although I'm only halfway through and not finished it yet, it's a really amazing book so far, and it's really showing me and reminding me how great nature is, and that time is very different for different living things on this earth, trees being one of them. So moving on from books, some of the plants that I have been loving lately, probably not a surprise because I think I've included them in some of my videos, but Roma tomatoes have been delicious from the garden right now. Some of the plants are on their last legs, which is totally okay because I have gotten probably about 50 tomatoes from some of these plants. What I've been doing is picking them and roasting them and turning them into pasta sauce that we have pretty much every week as a lunch. And I've also been really loving parsley. We also get a lot of parsley. So I love Italian food and I love making my own pasta sauces. So those are my two favorites that I've been loving from the garden lately. In the kitchen, I have been loving making teas. For my 25th birthday, my partner got me some teas, and I have always really disliked chamomile, like straight pure chamomile tea. Something about it just kind of makes me feel a bit drugged, to be honest. But I have been loving this apple cinnamon chamomile tea. The flavors in this are perfect for this time of year, and I've also been adding this into cakes and biscuits. And it's a really pretty decoration for baked goods. It doesn't really fit into a category, but I suppose I'm just going to do an other category that I've been loving relating to the garden and plants and all things nature, and that is a shop up at Mount Tambourine that I went to. It's called Bohemian Farmhouse. It was the most divine store I have been into in a while, and I picked up some Sacred Spirit Mist, which is basically a room spray. It is absolutely divine, and I can't work without spraying this in the room before I start my work. It's got yarrow, rose geranium, hyssop and catmint in it, and it smells beautiful. I am actually going to spray some around right now. And I also picked up some roll-on perfume. I suffer from a little bit of anxiety, nothing too major, but I think a lot of people do in this world right now. And some of the things that I like to calm myself with are these roll-on perfumes. This one is an anxiety releaser, and I think you can get these both on the Bohemian Farmhouse website if you're in Australia. I'm not sure if they ship overseas or not. And it's absolutely so beautiful with some dried herbs in it as well. I would love to one day be able to make some of those. Now onto some of the media, social media that I've been loving lately. First up, there's a few podcasts. I've always loved listening to Jason and Lorraine from Sow the Land. Their podcast is really interesting and they've got some awesome episodes on there, and I recently kind of binged listen a lot of their episodes. Let's see what I've also been loving on my Spotify. I've also been listening to The Purple Potting Shed by Katy over at Lavender and Leeks, and I love listening to her and her dad talk about gardening over in England, so I really love listening to that podcast. And in terms of YouTube channels, I have a few that I've been loving lately. The first is Danny from Happy Farms. Love her garden and her gardening style. She is super lovely over from Louisiana. Her partner Ben just started making some videos, which is lovely to see, and she is just a very happy person to watch, so I would definitely recommend going and checking her out. I've also been loving Katy Flowers. She does some amazing book reviews and tarot reviews, so I have kind of a long list of books thanks to her that I want to read, so she's really given me some inspiration to start reading again, which I have definitely needed. Another channel I've been really liking lately is Bill Curra Homestead. Michael and Scott have a homestead, and they have an amazing homestead where they're starting to raise some cattle and a really sweet fruit forest that they're planting, which looks amazing. They're kind of starting out their homesteading journey, so if you want to see some of their progress, definitely head on over and check them out. I seriously always laugh when I watch their videos. There's something about their channel that makes me super happy, so please go check out some fellow Aussie homesteaders if you would like to. And homesteaders that aren't Australian but I have been binge watching their videos is I'm not gonna know how to say it, Tapanoff. I don't know how to say it. It is Tapanoff Farm from Scotland. I think it's a community supported agriculture farm, so they sell fresh food boxes to their community basically, and I really love their system that they've got there and the different projects that they're setting up their farm. It's something that I would absolutely love to do one day. I'm kind of making small steps towards doing something like that one day, is to own a small scale farm where we can live on the farm and make a living off the land. I love watching their videos because it's in a totally different environment to where we are. They have to deal with snow and cold weather, which we definitely don't have to deal with here, but I love to learn about what can grow there and how to start a small scale farm like what they have. That's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was kind of a little bit more casual. I love doing a little bit more sit down catch up videos just to give a little bit more of a personal touch to the channel, because I find I connect better with people when I know a little bit more about them. And hopefully some of these favorites might inspire you to either start reading or cooking or planting. Gardening is such a big part of my life, and so are plants, and so hence why I have a YouTube channel called The Nature Patch. Make sure you hit the like button on this video and subscribe for more if you would like to see this. Thank you so much for watching this video, and until my next one, happy gardening guys. Bye!